back in a time where the Greek economy wasn't in shambles, being an oracle was a legitimate profession, and when you could just breed humans to be professional soldiers, there lived one of the most interesting people to have ever walked the Mediterranean. Enter Diogenes, the philosopher, who didn't really give a shit. As this guy walked the earth over 2000 years ago, many of the stories about his life may have been lost in translation or warped by the pages of time, but it's usually agreed that Diogenes was born in the city of Sinope and worked with his father minting money. This was until the pair were both exiled for allegedly defacing the local currency. After fleeing the city, Diogenes sought the advice of an oracle who strangely told him to continue to deface currency, to which he interpreted as currency in a political sense. This is where Diogenes ended up in Athens, where upon arrival, his slave by the name of Manes took the opportunity and ran the fuck away. Standing there freshly exiled and having one of his last possessions be swallowed by the streets of Athens, he said to himself, if Manes can live without Diogenes, why not Diogenes without Manes? Diogenes later pursued the teachings of a philosopher named Antisthenes, who was a pupil of Socrates. The story goes that the philosopher had to beat him away with a stick after his relentless pursuit, with Diogenes remarking, "You will find no wood hard enough to keep me away from you, so long as I think you have something to say." Diogenes came to view Athenian society as corrupt, confused, and overcomplicated. He viewed social status and possessions as entirely meaningless and took to living in a wooden barrel and eating a diet of almost entirely onions. On one account, he threw away his wooden bowl after seeing a boy drink from his cupped hands. He then shouted, "Fool that I am, to have been carrying superfluous baggage all this time." Diogenes became known for consistently holding up a mirror to Athenian society. On at least one occasion, he was seen walking the afternoon streets of Athens with a lamp. When asked why he needed a source of light in the middle of the day, he simply replied, "I'm just looking for an honest man." Diogenes also made a habit of annoying other philosophers with accounts of him bringing food into their lectures or heckling them directly. On one occasion, Plato described the definition of a man as a featherless biped, to which Diogenes responded by bringing a plucked chicken into Plato's academy before announcing, "Behold, I've brought you a man." The stunt would then lead to Plato revising his definition. Later in his life, Diogenes was captured by pirates while sailing to a nearby island. He was then transported to the island of Crete to be sold into slavery. It's not universally agreed what happened to him at his auction, but this is how one such source depicts the event. At the start of the auction, when asked where he was from, Diogenes declared himself to be a citizen of the world, to which he then started to lecture those attending on how to go about buying slaves. He reasoned that those buying humans should first examine the person's character, as they are more complicated than a fish or piece of cutlery. He then peered out into the crowd before pointing to a particularly wealthy man and shouted, "Sell me to that man. He could do with a master." In an insane reverse Uno card play, the wealthy man ended up buying the charismatic philosopher and had him act as a tutor to his two sons. Sources differ on what happened afterwards, with some claiming that he was freed almost immediately, while others believe he declined offers to be ransomed by his friends. Regardless, most sources agree that he henceforth became a cherished member of the household. Diogenes would stay in his new home in Corinth for the remainder of his life, acting as a tutor, a lecturer, and a general lovable menace. His teachings were so well known that he eventually struck the interest of Alexander the Great, a known student of philosophy who was taught by Aristotle in his youth. The story goes that Alexander, the unquestionably most powerful person in the world at the time, walked up to Diogenes one morning while he was relaxing in the sunlight. Alexander then asked whether there was anything he could do for the old philosopher, to which Diogenes replied, "Yes, stand out of my sunlight." Alexander then declared, "If I were not Alexander, then I should wish to be Diogenes," to which Diogenes replied, "If I were not Diogenes, I would still wish to be Diogenes." Another account of the encounter has Alexander finding the philosopher looking through a pile of human bones before being told, "I'm searching for the bones of your father, but cannot distinguish them from those of a slave." Historians agree that Diogenes died at around 89 years of age. However, the cause of death sees conflicting explanations. Some accounts say that he died by becoming sick from an infected dog bite or by eating a raw octopus, while some of his contemporaries claimed that he simply held his breath until he perished. Whatever the case, Diogenes felt no need to worry about a person's treatment once dead and simply requested that he be thrown outside the city walls so he could be eaten by wild animals.
"When I'm dead, just throw me in the trash."
Diogenes is remembered for his dog-like behavior, his rejection of established and accepted societal values, and as one of the founders of cynicism, which would then go on to influence the teachings of philosophy for millennia to come. Viewers can visit a statue of Diogenes in his birthplace city of Sinop to this day, which was erected shortly after his death in 2006. Most importantly, Diogenes will forever be remembered as the godfather of just not giving a fuck.